The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
Hooray for Hollywood, where stars are living large, in mansions with their servants and their credit cards in charge, with fame that's fleeting, but the egos never change, where everyone's a genius, except the ones who really arrange. Hooray for Hollywood, where the scandals always sell, where every whispered secret is a new tabloid's tell. Oh, how we adore the endless red carpet galore. Hooray for Hollywood, where less is always more.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to a Rad Religion Broadcasting premiere podcast, Damn You Hollywood. And here's your host. He wore an itsy-bitsy, teeny-weeny yellow polka dot bikini that he wore for the first time before. He's Robert Winfrey. Yay!
How did you get my police file?
Freedom of Information Act.
Damn.
How are you?
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm doing okay. This is Damn You Hollywood. That's Mark. Mark's having a grand old time.
I'm watching Miami versus the Miami Dolphins versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in what can only be described as a high school football game masquerading as pro football.
It's rare that I look at a pro football game and go, college is better, because collegiate athletics are almost a different sport to the professionals. They're just at such a lower level, but man.
If I may, picture it, 2024, Sicily. And I'm watching the Georgia Alabama game. And Alabama, what can only be described as a BDSM scene, that first half, what they did to Georgia. Just hit them with everything but the kitchen sink. And then Georgia comes back in the third and nearly ties it up. And then the quarterback from Alabama threw the ball from my house to the moon for a touchdown. That's, for me, college football. That's like the most college football moment that I've ever seen.
College football is, and I say this with respect for what it is, it is a circus.
Yeah. I have seen some wonderfully, like, fuck all games this season. Introduce the pretty ladies before she
joining us
goes into a fit that we're forgetting about her.
Joining us tonight, so that we're not just two men talking about the female attraction to the bizarre, overly large man.
I say again, when did we switch personalities?
Look, one of us, you and I, I've told you this before, Mark, you and I have a balancing act.
Yes.
When one of us goes down, the other has to go up. You've been down for a little bit. I've had to be up.
Yeah, so we're like the Eliminators.
Little bit, yeah. But Alexis Haina is joining us. So, Alexis,
how many references can we do tonight that Alexis has no fucking clue what we're talking about?
No kidding. I have my book here. It's like, why don't you just go start talking, and I'm going to read.
We have two so far. How are you doing, Alexis?
I'm doing well. Really excited to talk about this. This is a movie that I was so excited when it was announced. I got even more excited when I saw the set photos and the trailers, and I've been doing Snoopy dances the whole time.
Outstanding. You should do them on TikTok. That's all the rage these days. Hey, Robert, what are we talking about?
Well, tonight we are talking about Guillermo del Toro's take on Frankenstein.
Frankenstein is a 2025 American Gothic science fiction film produced, written, and directed, Best Boyd, catered, and edited by Guillermo del Toro, based on the 1818 novel.
A lot of hats.
Yes, sir. By Mary Shelley. The film stars Oscar Isaac, acting, not like he does in Star Wars, as Victor Frankenstein, Jacob Elordi as the creature, and Mia Goth and Christoph Waltz in supporting roles. The story follows the life of Frankenstein, an egotistical scientist whose experiment in creating new life results in dangerous consequences. I'm going to share with you some thoughts going into this, and then we can discuss our histories, as it were, with this particular Gothic IP. So before we talk about performances, visuals, or crafts, I want to talk about what this movie, I think, and this is up for debate when I'm done, is actually doing. Because if you miss this, I think you missed the point. Frankenstein isn't a horror story as such. It's this version of it, at least, this iteration, is a moral accusation. Mary Shelley wasn't asking, what if humans played God? She was asking something much sharper. What kind of people create things and then refuse to answer for them? She was surrounded by brilliant men, philosophers, poets, revolutionaries who loved ideas, loved transgression, loved innovation, and consistently collapsed when responsibility arrived, as all men do. She watched creation outpace conscience in real time. That's why Paradise Lost matters here. The creature isn't Adam. He's closer to Milton's Satan, created, cast out, and forced to narrate his own suffering after abandonment. The wound isn't rejection, it's being made and then left unanswered, existence without justification. Guillermo del Toro understands that perfectly. His interpretation isn't about spectacle or monsters, it's about moral failure, something I am beating a drum about these days on TikTok. A very loud, very persistent drum. With Victor Frankenstein's sin isn't ambition, it's evasion. He wants authorship without stewardship, power without duty, creation without consequence. And the film treats that not as tragedy, but as guilt. What makes this so hard now is that it isn't an old problem. It's a permanent human behavior, says the mental health professional. We are living in an era that rewards flowery ideas, maximal rhetoric, and consequence-free moral signaling. People love creation, technological, ideological, cultural, but recoil when someone asks, alrighty, and who carries the weight after this? The moment consequences are introduced, everyone clutches their pearls. That's why this movie feels like a lashing out, not against God, against creators who walk away, against people who speak as if meaning well absolves them, against systems built faster than conscience. Shelley knew something we keep relearning the hard way. Creation is not a moment of genius. It's a lifelong obligation, and Del Toro turns that insight into a quiet indictment. The monster isn't born evil, he becomes monstrous only after abandonment is complete. So when I say this might be the best movie I've seen this year, and I will, it's not because it flatters me or agrees with me, it's because it refuses to lie. It insists on responsibility in a culture addicted to weightlessness. Now, with that said, let's get into, unless you guys want to react to that in any way, let's get into our history with the IP. Let me just quick address that. Robert, did you want to say anything, or are you good with what I said?
Yeah. I want to save addressing some of that until after we talk about the movie proper, because there's stuff about this movie's adaptation of the material that is where some of my friction with it lies, and I don't mean that as a negative, but I want to save that until after we talk about the movie, because I can't address some of the stuff you're talking about without talking about the movie, and that seems like putting the cart before the horse in some respects.
Fair enough. Alexis, so you're a big fan of Gothic horror, and Gothic and horror. So where does Frankenstein rank among your Avengers of horror monsters?
Not just horror monsters. This is one of my all-time favorite books.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Well, first read it in high school for a composition course that I took. Just fell in love with it. Obviously, I knew of the story. You don't grow up and not know who, about the Boris Karloff monster. We all have seen that imagery. And I just found it incredibly fascinating. Like I said, it has been one of my all-time favorites for I don't know how long. I've read it so many times. I'm always intrigued when I see new adaptations. Side note, I'm also excited for the Bride of Frankenstein movie that's coming out in 2026. And
That's the one that's just called The Bride, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's one with Christian Bale. I think it's Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial debut.
Well, that throws some water on my.
Well, I now have to do some research because I don't think any of that's true, but it doesn't matter, and it's not worth debating at this time. Let me ask you, what specifically? I'm going to do a little bit of mental health professionalism here. What specifically about Frankenstein fascinates you?
Well, I remember the first time I read the book, and I found it almost hilarious that we have always seen so much work put into the adaptations talking about bringing the monster to life, and none of that is in the book. First time I read it, it was literally like, and then on a night I brought the monster came to life, and I was literally like, did I miss a chapter?
like looking at the book. Hey, wait a minute. What about the lightning? Where's the lightning?
It is to Mary Shelley's eternal credit that she understood that some things are best left to let the human mind fill in, and the specifics of granting life to dead tissue is one of those things that maybe we should just kind of leave there.
True, but along with the imagery of the monster, the idea of Dr. Frankenstein shouting, it's alive, is so ingrained into the mythos
and
that when you read the book,
and utterly an invention of old Hollywood.
Exactly. When the first time you read it, it's like, wait, that wasn't in the book? Because you just associate it so much with the story.
You went to college. In your scholastic career, did you do any scholarship on Frankenstein out of curiosity?
Not on Frankenstein. Actually, my big thing was on Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, that's a choice.
Oh, I got reprimanded by my professor for saying that they were stoners.
Nice.
She was furious.
Also a choice.
So anyway, so you read the book. You liked that you were fascinated with it. You noticed that that the book is wildly different from Hollywood. Any other insights you want to share before we move over to Robert?
Well, it's fun because, okay, so again, high school, read the book, and we had to do a big project on it at the end. And we were allowed to choose what we wanted to do. You know, it's like, do you want to write an essay? Do you want to do an art piece? Whatever. The teacher gave us free carte blanche to do whatever we want.
So what did you draw?
Oh, I got my friends from the neighborhood and we did a film adaptation.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which we filmed in 1 hour because the guy playing my monster was running late for work. I literally just called up my friends in the neighborhood. I'm like, I want you guys to do this for me.
Timing is everything.
And they didn't. And I wrote a script, but the guys were just, they were like, so what's the plot point? And they looked over. It's like, okay, fine. And then they ad-libbed the hell out of everything. You know, the scene when the monster approaches Dr. Frankenstein, says, I want you to make a bride. I just said, you know, it's like, well, he doesn't want to do it. And the guy playing the doctor said, I can't do that. You're freaking ugly. And he chose this weird Swedish accent for some reason. I have no idea why.
Right, I'm only asking
Dolph
for
Lundgren would be the best casting for a Victor Frankenstein in my head now.
So, I'm only asking for a ranking, just a ranking. Best adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in any format, in your opinion.
Honestly, this is, you know, I've been saying for the longest, I've been saying Sinners was my #1 movie of the year. I was lucky enough to get to see this in theaters during the limited release, sat in the front row, walked down, said, nope, that's going to #1.
Yeah, you and I don't agree on much. I think you're a child for the most part, but this you and I agree on. So this is a good opinion. I approve.
Well, I think you're a grouchy old man in the mountains.
Just for the record, given how much we're about to talk about the relationship between fathers and children, your discussion right there is suddenly quite apropos.
Indeed. Worst, in your opinion, Alexis, worst adaptation of Frankenstein, any format?
Boy, that's a big list.
It is a big list, but I'm going to take the easy way out and say Van Helsing. Okay.
Robert, your history.
That is I consider that a cop-out on many levels.
I don't want to waste 20 minutes on a nothing topic. So I wanted her opinion. It doesn't matter if it's whatever.
Look, I'm just saying that's a bit of a cop out.
Good, you can beat her later. But don't tell Jesse because then he'll get jealous. That's his girlfriend right there. So
I thought I was his work wife.
You're his girlfriend. Let's not complicate this. You're
the work mistress. Let's just further abstract this down the rabbit hole of potential human.
Does that make Mark his work wife?
That's yes. Okay. I was trying to get Mick to take Mindy to a dungeon last night on Metal Hammer of Doom. So
that's a choice.
Yeah, I'm terrible. Speaking of terrible, would you please tell us, Robert, your history with this particular IP?
Kind of like Alexis, I encountered it high school era first time. Actually, the first time I tried to read this, I bounced off of it. I don't know what it was. I think the problem was I had read Dracula very recently to picking that up because I went, oh, I've read and enjoyed Dracula. What's not to enjoy about the novel of Dracula? Frankenstein is the other half of this equation, more or less, right? You know, I'm a 13, 14-year-old kid. That tracks.
There's no Wolfman novel, so yeah.
You're going to get me onto the argument that that's actually Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is the first Wolfman novel, but that's another discussion. So having come from Dracula to picking up Frankenstein, there's something about the prose difference. To say nothing of, the Dracula novel is just an epistolary, which makes for an interesting read. I hadn't really encountered that before. So something about this, the first time I tried to read it, just didn't click. I got far enough into it to go to. I already kind of knew that the classic Universal movie is not accurate for the most part, but it's the one everyone knows because it was a giant success. And in fairness to that movie not being accurate, it is, especially for its time. That and the sequel, Bride of Frankenstein, are both very, very good movies. They're just not very good adaptations in sort of the traditional sense. I came back to it around the time I graduated high school, and in no small part because there started to be a little bit of a movement in some of the circles I was touching on that, the first science fiction novel ever printed was Frankenstein. And this is a somewhat debatable point, but there's enough given to the science in the novel that I think it could qualify. So I picked it up kind of having it been brought back to my attention in that respect. And my appreciation for it vastly outstrips my enjoyment, which is not a bad thing. Like, some things I enjoy are not very good, not worth appreciating. But I deeply appreciate the novel. It is very well thought out. It is very well put together. It has the right kind of prose. Once you can get into it, you see all the appropriate influence. I think the other reason I appreciated it more when I actually got around to reading it was I'd actually read some of Shelley's contemporaries who were big influences on the style. And if you try to if this is your first exposure to like the quasi-romantic language, it's a bit of a tough read. It's a little bit like trying to read Tolkien for your first fantasy novel. Like, no, we start with Narnia or we start with Prydain. They're good, they're deep, they are great introductions. They are not prose heavy and dense. Shelley is. So that was kind of where I read it for the first time. Very much enjoyed it. It is the tragedy of that story is so much different in the novel than in most of the adaptations. Most of the adaptations, this one included, to part of my annoyance, tend to paint the creature as the lone tragic figure. And one of the things I love about the novel is the sort of reciprocal toxic, to use the contemporary buzzword, the toxic relationship between Victor and the creature. Like, they are horrible for each other. And yet, for reasons, they can't get away from each other. It starts with Victor just kind of, being a pie in the sky ambitious young man taken in by notions of alchemy and stuff beyond purely what the mathematical formula of science can represent. And so he, as Prometheus, uh, he's a little bit both Prometheus and Icarus. He flies too close to the sun and brings it back down to Earth. And he creates something that he is unbelievably ill-equipped to handle, freaks out, the creature freaks out and runs away. They actually don't have a relationship in the early part of the novel. That's a bit of an invention.
This sounds like modern day parenting, by the way.
You have no idea.
No, I fucking do.
I know you do. But you're a good parent.
Yes.
The creature then comes back to him later, having become educated and through similar to what this movie does, and says, "You jerk! Look what you did to me." In the meantime, Frankenstein has tried to forget that this horrible thing happened. He's getting married, he's moved on with life. The creature shows up and goes, "Tell you what, buddy, I don't like you. Make me a wife, make me a companion, or I'm going to ruin your life." And he goes, "Well, I don't want my life to be ruined, so okay."
This all seems good. I'm good with this so far.
So he does that. He actually does go to make the Bride of Frankenstein. He gets most of the way through the process, looks at it, and goes and he's developed as a person. He's got this big crisis of conscience and morality, and goes, "This was a mistake the first time. I have an opportunity not to double down on it here. Let's not."
He also argues that if the monster and the bride end up procreating, then we're going to get a whole new subspecies. And I love overly sarcastic productions pointing out, well, there's an easy way around it. Just, remove a few organs from the woman before you give her life. But no, that never crosses the doctor's head.
It doesn't. And it's one of the few things in this movie it's one of the few things in the story that takes me out of it. For as smart as everyone is, the fact that you couldn't think of just, you can be sterile. That'll be fine. You should have made the creature a Ken doll to begin with.
I did the zip mouth thing because there's a philosophical, religious, genealogical, biological argument inherent in what you just said that I really don't want to have on the movie review podcast we are presently doing.
Yeah. Point being, I'm under normal circumstances. It's one of the very few things that kind of takes me out of the book is that one moment from Victor being like, "Boy, there's so many ways to fix this." But anyway, so he can't do it.
I'll say what takes me out of the book. This is what I laugh at is that the book is framed as a letter. It's a letter that the captain of the ship who's trying to find the Northern Passage. He's like, "Oh my God!" He's writing his letters like, "Sis, you're not gonna believe this. We found this guy on the ice, and he's telling the story." And then he's writing down what Victor says. And then the monster comes in and goes, "Hey, you want to know what I've been up to and what, how I've learned to speak?" So this is all literally like a story within a story within a story within a letter.
Yeah.
So wrapping up, Robert.
So he can't do it. And the creature goes, "Well, now you did it. Now I'm going to ruin your life." And on his wedding night, murders his wife. And Frankenstein swears revenge and then starts chasing him. And then we wind up in the Arctic and the creature is still out there. Frankenstein dies on the boat. And the captain who we've been following learns a lesson about the dangers of obsession.
Okay.
And so my point there, there's something really powerful that Shelley gets to about the relationship between Victor and the creature that I think the vast majority of adaptations never quite get right. Some of them can be very, very powerful in what they do portray. This one is, I think. But there's something that gets lost in the translation process that I really have yet to see accurately depicted. And I was really hoping we might get there with this one, but we got what we got, which is certainly not anything to cry about in this case.
I am curious, and I really want you to answer this as a academic, but not as Robert Winfrey. Do you know if contemporary readers of Frankenstein, or at least I'm going to say contemporary, 50 years post mass publication, how they reacted to the book. Because the reason I'm asking that question, I'm asking it that way, is I'm wondering if consensus opinion was people didn't love that relationship and didn't really want to, like, they react. Follow me with my train of logic here. In modern day movie watching and appreciation, people like the jingling keys and bright colors, and they don't necessarily like a lot of the heavy lifting movies should be doing. So a lot of movies are written without the heavy lifting, quite frankly, because they are trying to appeal to a mass audience. So here's this book that does a lot of heavy lifting, if you follow my parlance.
I do.
And they gauge reaction to the book amongst people who read books in this time and go, well, they like the monster and they like the theme of obsession. They don't like this relationship. Let's just leave that out.
It's a choice that I can understand.
Do you see
I'm
why
not,
do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
Why I'm asking it? Okay.
I'm not super familiar at the moment with. I can't remember because Frankenstein came out and it's sort of contemporary with Dracula. They're very close to each other. I think Dracula came out first because there's a bit of a. I don't know how true this is, but I know the story about how this Frankenstein came about is Mary Shelley, Lord Byron, and a couple of other people are having essentially a horror story contest. They're sitting around one night, as bohemians do, and go, let's tell scary stories. So the first two of them tell fairly bog standard vampire stories, and Mary Shelley drops basically the prototype of Frankenstein on them. And vampires as like popular literary devices didn't come into the fore until Dracula. Again, they'd existed before that. Almost every culture has some.
As we've talked about ad nauseum in every vampire movie review we've done in the past 2 years.
So, which is just to say, like, that's kind of where the timeline lines up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this was quite a Moby Dick situation where nobody cared for it when it came out. It wasn't until years later after Shelley's death that anyone started appreciating it properly. But again, I don't recall off the top of my head. I certainly know that to the modern reader, and I know this because I've seen people whine about it, they really have a hard time grasping the complexity of what's going on with Victor Frankenstein and the creature. It is a really messy relationship.
I can see people being made to feel too uncomfortable to appreciate and just go, but I just want more monster stuff. What have you found research toots?
Okay, well, the first edition was published anonymously, although it did.
Because, in fairness, a lot of that was because, boy, women authors, right? At that period of time.
Yeah, the preface was written by her husband, Percy, with a dedication to her father, philosopher William Godwin. Let's see here. Contemporary critical reviews were varied. Despite these reviews, Frankenstein achieved an almost immediate popular success. It became widely known, especially through melodramatic theatrical adaptations. Yeah. The first adaptation, Presumption, or The Fate of Frankenstein, a play by Richard Brinsley Peake, performed 37 times at the English Opera House in the West End during the 1823 season. The acclaim it received caused a second printing of Shelley's novel and other theatrical adaptations. Shelley attended a performance on August 29th, 1823, and following the success of the play, she wrote, "Lo and behold, I found myself famous."
So it is not enough, children, not you guys, well, some of you guys, it is not enough, children, to know that things happened. You can Google that. It is important for critical thinking and an understanding of humanity and for the possibility of not repeating every mistake we've ever made is to know why things are happening. And for that, you have to understand somewhat how people think, why they thought the way that they do, how they feel, and the decisions that they made. And that's why I asked that question. I think it's important to understand. I think it's a little too easy to just sort of be dismissive about it and go, oh, well, they focused on the monster because that's the money shot, and the rest of this is gonna, hogwash. Like,
Well-
no, there was probably something going on at the time among people who read this shit, and experienced it, and there were reasonable decisions that were made.
Well, again, this is
better or
public.
worse.
First publication was what again, Alexis? 18.
Hang on a second. Scroll back up here.
Let me tell you this. I think if there's one
1818.
if there's at least one one mark of human behavior that is consistent from caveman times to now, it is that nobody wants to be confronted about their stuff in distraction. Whatever your distraction, your entertainment medium, whatever it is that gets you from thinking about your doldrum life, you certainly don't want to spend that time being confronted with the things that give you anxiety. And if this book is really getting to people, if people who are experiencing it are just like, oof, this makes me feel things I don't particularly want to feel, and this is supposed to distract me from working on the farm or the coal mine, I kind of get why in later adaptations it's like, don't get into the relationship with these two. Just do him running from the monster.
Well, a lot of those early stage productions of this too, they're well done, but like a lot of stage productions, especially of their time, there's concessions that have to be made to the story.
Yeah.
I was about to say the presumption, the one that she attended, that was the first use of Igor, or as he's was known in the early adaptation, Fritz.
Igor. Sorry.
You're pulling me.
All right. Speaking of being pulled, Robert, why don't you go ahead and do the plot synopsis? But reasonably quick, considering you spent 30 minutes on this.
Well, I did like a half-assed
that's what I'm saying.
And
Don't
this
do
follows that
beat
very
all over
closely.
again.
So, we open with the ship in the Arctic looking for the Northwest Passage. Apparently, in this case, they're just looking for the North Pole, though, because they want to find Santa. I don't know.
Well, the idea was whoever could find the quickest passage to the North Pole would be able to find the quickest route to get anywhere else in the world.
That was the thought.
Just as an aside, I dropped a TikTok today where I was criticizing this this girl who's very pro-Israel, very anti-Arab. She dropped a TikTok that wildly misconstrued an issue that happened in Jersey with the school district and their teaching of Islam. And I was like, no, don't do this. Every time one of you idiots does something like this, you distract from real problems. And that's my issue here is you're making mincemeat. You're making a mountain out of a molehill and you're distracting from actual issues. Don't be that guy. And someone's reaction to that is to me doing that is, did Santa join Hamas? Nuance is dead. DED, dead.
Well, it is on TikTok at any rate.
Yes. Go on.
So as they are trying to get their ship out of the ice, they see
It's the suspense that gets me.
They see an explosion in the distance, and they send some of the men out to take a look, and they find a man in the snow, injured with a prosthetic leg. And they decide to take him onto their ship. They're like, okay, well, what the heck is going on?
I apologize. I don't know what's going on with my internet there. Should not have I've got
I took over until they got Frankenstein on the ship for you.
They got him on the ship. They scare away the creature by sinking it into the ice. And Victor Frankenstein begins telling his story. See, in the beginning, the universe was created. This has largely been regarded as a mistake and has made a lot of people very angry.
No, too far back. Skip ahead a few generations.
You're a pretty cool fruit who really knows where his towel's at.
Victor goes into how his parents had a somewhat unhappy relationship. It was largely a marriage of convenience and for money, as was the style at the time.
At the time?
The time could be any time, Mark. Leave it alone.
Moving on.
At least
he was close with his mother. He was not close with his father, who was very strict about raising him to be a surgeon, some kind of medical professional. And his mother, while pregnant, died while giving birth to his younger brother, his younger brother William became the apple of his father's eye, the ray of sunshine, while Victor was the storm cloud. Their father winds up dying. There's some problems of finance. His brother goes to live with the half of the family that's in Vienna. And he is shipped off to, God forbid, Edinburgh.
The ass end of the earth, Scotland.
It's not quite Wales, but while in Edinburgh, he does not develop an accent, but does become a doctor, a scientist. He has been thrown out of his university after having a demonstration because he's been looking into the reanimation of dead tissue. The central nervous system, don't you know? But during one of his demonstrations, he catches the eye of Christoph Waltz, who is the uncle of Mia Goth, who is getting married to Victor's younger brother. And Waltz tells him, "Look, I own a couple of munitions factories. There's a war going on. There usually is at this time in Europe. Not uncommon."
The age of exploration and expansion. What a generation it was.
This is the 1800s, and the Napoleonic Wars aren't that far removed. So I got a lot of money. I'm doing well, and you're talking about giving life, eternal life, perhaps. I would like to finance this. In exchange, you'll have to give me a gift later. And Frankenstein goes, "Okay." Somehow not thinking that, wow, the old guy wanting to know about how to create eternal life might ask for something.
This sounds familiar. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't quite. Prometheus. I can't quite place the name of it. Aliens.
I was really sad the creature didn't get I'm the author of all your pain line, because that just would have been funny.
Really wanted somebody to do the fingering.
Well, you did the blowing.
Yes.
I mean, wrong movie, but okay.
There's a lot of Alien Covenant going on here, and Prometheus.
So he starts setting up his laboratory. He starts looking at cadavers, and he discovers that the best way to actually disseminate the combination of chemicals and electricity that he's using to regenerate life is not through the circulatory system, nor even the central nervous system, but the limbic system. Those of you unaware, this is your series of glands.
Yes, of which I had cancer in mine.
Yes, the lymphatic system. And with that information, he starts to have minor breakthroughs. He meets Mia Goth, becomes smitten with her because he does.
No, it's Mia Goth,
I do not find her attractive.
Keep going, please.
Which is not to say that she isn't attractive.
You find two girls on Earth attractive. I don't understand you. Nobody does.
You and I have never had that particular conversation, nor do I feel like sharing my sexual proclivities with you. So
wonderful. It's a day that ends in Y. Keep going.
Look, some of you choose to broadcast your naked karaoke onto the internet. Some of us don't.
I made choices. I'm not backing off of them.
So he now that he's got an idea, he begins assembling the creature's body. And around this time, he realizes that good old Christoph Waltz has syphilis. Very advanced case of syphilis. And Waltz goes, "Look, I want you to transfer my consciousness into the new body. This is my condition." And Victor goes, "No! I'm trying to create new life. Why would I give it a diseased brain? Yours is abnormal. I need." So so they fight a little bit over this. Poor Hans Landa falls to his death. And Victor is able to get the lightning. The chemicals are injected. The creature doesn't quite come to life. And Victor is heartbroken. But the creature does, in fact, come to life just in a little bit of lag, a boot up delay. And the creature then shows up. And all it can say is Victor. This bothers Victor because he wanted life, intelligence, not this abomination. And
like most fathers, is impatient with its child as it develops. Are you a doctor yet? I fucking just born.
Come back to me when you're a doctor.
Oh, that was a heck of a delivery, wasn't it? And as Mark said, he starts to lose patience with this creature. He's taking care of it, but I need you to develop a little bit, buddy. If all you are is a lumbering thing who barely understands physical stimuli, like hot bad, like you're not all that useful. I have failed somehow, spectacularly perhaps. There was a problem with the machine because of the whole thing, and it wasn't ideal. It wasn't quite fresh enough. Sorry, I had to get my Lovecraft reference in there. Around this time, Mia Goth and his brother show up and go, "So, how's it going? Haven't heard from her uncle in a little bit. He was supposed to be here last we checked." And Victor goes, "Oh yeah, he went out for cigarettes. He'll be back in a minute."
He was out of milk.
"Meanwhile, come see my work, brother. I would love to show this to you." And he starts telling that. And Mia Goth, meanwhile, hears the dull groaning of the creature and goes, "Allow me to wander unsupervised into the basement of this leaky tower where surely nothing bad will happen to me." She finds the creature, immediately mistakes it for just a normal person that Victor has abused and tortured, goes up to him and goes, "What are you doing, you sociopath?" And he goes, "I did not take some poor fool from the streets, woman, and vivisect him into a ape-like form. I am not Dr. Moreau. I am Dr. Frankenstein. I made a life." This is arguably worse. And they spend a little bit of time, and of course she's attracted to the creature, and the creature's like, "Ooh."
Because the second thing that's true throughout all of humanity. It's like,
And
oh,
of
it's a
course-
monster I can fix. Wonderful.
And the creature goes, "Ooh, pretty," which tracks.
Third thing.
But slowly this starts to unravel because Mia Goth is like, "You're treating this poor creature so badly." And Victor's like, "You don't understand. He's a 7-foot-tall, superhumanly strong infant. If I don't keep him chained up, he's gonna walk off the side of the building."
I kept thinking of poor things through that entire scene.
And Mia Goth goes, "But you must treat him with empathy. You are his creator." And he goes, "Okay, I've had enough of this. You know that thing downstairs that killed your uncle?" He tells that to the brother. And he goes, "Please take her away. I will deal with this. Something has gone horribly wrong. I've tried something very bad here. I'm going to clean this up with fire. And then I'll find you later and it'll all be okay. Well, we'll put this unpleasantness behind us." So he starts rigging the place to burn and explode. And he goes down to the creature and he goes, "I'm going to kill you now. Well, so give me a reason not to." The creature goes, "Victor," which is the only thing he can say. And he goes, "Fine, I've had it." He starts to walk off, and the creature very slyly goes, "Elizabeth," the name of Mia Goth's character. And Frankenstein and Victor goes, "Okay, I've made a horrible mistake," and proceeds to burn the building down. But as the creature is burning, and fire bad, one of the few things it knows very definitively at this point, Victor goes, "You know, maybe I shouldn't burn the thing alive. There's got to be a humane way for me to do this."
And proceeds to walk into a bomb.
He walks into a bomb and blows his leg off, catastrophic amputation. And the creature escapes, and this is where Victor's story ends. The creature shows up back on the boat and goes, "Now let me tell you the real story of how the house fell on my sister."
Yeah, so there's part clue going on in this movie.
Mhm.
It could have happened that way,
Like,
but
here's
here's
what really happened.
Yeah.
The creature escapes. He falls down a tunnel, winds up, washed up on the shores of this landmass. And he wanders. He finds a deer. It's a nice little deer. And then a hunter shoots it in the face, which is the wrong way to shoot a deer. There's so many reasons that's bad. And they shoot the monster, and the monster goes, "Ow. Don't do that. It kind of
Having
hurt."
a terrible day.
He runs away. He finds a disused mill. And he holds up in there because it's out of the weather. And then a bunch of people show up, including a blind old man who is helpfully teaching his granddaughter or niece, I forget which one, all of the secrets of language, communication. He's getting a real, so the creature winds up getting a decent enough education, better than you get in the current public school system for that age group, I imagine.
By far.
And he does nice things for the family, and he starts to feel okay about himself. And then most of the family leaves. They leave the blind old man there because he insists. He is the old man in the woods.
Wolves attacked. They went to go hunt the wolves.
So everyone leaves, including the family. And they're like, "Look, let's go into town. We're going to go do some of the last hunting. It'll be fine." And the guy goes, no, I'm a crotchety old man. I have prayed here every winter since time immemorial, and I will not be moved now by you, sir. Good day. And they all go, you know what? This isn't worth it. Fine, stay here.
Let him die.
So
leave the
they
old
leave.
blind man alone where there are definitely wolves. How could this not go wrong?
He's got a flare, though, and it just looks like a Christmas star. Anyway. So that's an obscure Simpsons reference. The creature then shows up and starts talking with him, and he learns more how to read. He converses. He makes a friend. And he is told by the old man, look, if your brain's a little messed up. I can't see, but I know your brain's messed up. If you've got any memories, you should go back towards that. Try to figure out who you are. It'll be good for you. So the creature goes back to the burned out tower and goes, oh, I'm an unholy abomination. Everything about this is awful. I'm going to wander back to that old man and try to figure this out, my existential crisis. But the wolves have attacked. And they've basically killed the old man. The monster kills several of the wolves, talks with the old man who says, you know, whatever you were, you're my friend. And the creature goes, oh, I feel good now. But then, right then, not seeing, too late to actually stop the wolves.
And in walk the southern racists who see a black man standing over a woman and make the appropriate assumption.
Pretty much.
That is really what we're going for here.
Yeah.
They go, huh. There were wolves running out of this place, given how quickly we got here. Must have been this humanoid creature that killed the old man.
Right. There's a reason why I said what I just said.
Yeah. So they shoot him, they stab him, and he kills one of them. Then he wanders out and he gets shot a few more times. And he's like, the bliss, the sweet release of death has claimed me for an afternoon nap. And then I woke up. And I can't die. This is terrible. But he found a letter to Victor that was at the old place, so now he knows where to find him. So he goes to find Victor, and he does find him. Eve of his brother getting married to Elizabeth. And the creature talks with Victor and goes, I don't like you, jackass. And Victor goes, you know, I kind of thought you were dead. And he goes, I can't die. You've condemned me to this wretched existence. I never consented to being born. Give me money. Sorry. He says, look, I'm stuck like this. I can't die. This is awful. Make me a companion, someone that I can spend the endless eternities until the heat death of the universe with, so I don't actually feel like, you know, the world's worst thing. And Victor goes, why? So you're going to have kids? So you can... I bet if I made you a male companion, you'd be pretty mad at me, wouldn't you? Victor refuses, and the creature then gets violent and throws him about the room. The commotion attracts everyone. Elizabeth runs in and goes, oh, you're that thing I met, like, for a couple of days, a while ago, and have yearned for ever since. Please carry me away from my terrible life with my financier husband.
Yeah, accurate.
And Victor picks up a gun and goes, get away from the creature. I got to shoot it. And she goes, no. And like a Secret Service agent, dives in front of the bullet. And the creature's like, no, you killed the pretty thing. How dare you? And everyone else runs up. And Victor goes, see what he did? See what the creature did? It's not good. The creature then kills Victor's brother by braining him against a wall and grabs the body of Elizabeth and runs away to a cave like you do. So Victor, after being scolded by his dying younger brother, because you were the author of all my pain, Victor. Victor grabs a shotgun and goes after the creature, and he finds dead Elizabeth, and the creature beats him up, breaks his nose, and goes, now I'm the one in charge, and then runs away. So Victor starts chasing him, and this leads us back to where we were. Now back in the ship, Victor and the creature reconcile, offer mutual forgiveness, and Victor tells the creature, look, you may be stuck living, that does behoove you to actually live. So go about the business of living. As was said much better, get busy living or get busy dying. And since you can't get busy dying, it does kind of limit your options, doesn't it? The creature then shoves the entire boat out of its ice lock. The power scaling is wild in this. He frees the boat. The captain, having learned a lesson about obsession, turns the boat around. The creature stares at the Arctic sunrise and resolves to begin living right before he is attacked by a polar bear, I assume, once the credits start rolling.
All right, Alexis, go ahead and praise the craft of this movie.
Like I said, I was super excited the minute I found out this movie was announced. I got even more excited when I saw stills from the production. And then I saw the trailer. And I mean, this is Guillermo del Toro's wheelhouse. When you hear Guillermo del Toro doing Frankenstein, you go, yes. Yes.
Why haven't we done this before?
I know. This is the way the world is supposed to work. Guillermo del Toro is supposed to make Frankenstein. Finally, this makes sense. Reality is getting back to normal, hopefully.
If only Netflix would give him the money to make his At the Mountains of Madness adaptation, then we'd be really cooking with gas.
Yeah, no kidding. Apparently, they're going to give him money to make a version of Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's good. You know what? I trust him to stick closer to the book than the musical, at least.
Oh, he's not doing. It's not going to be the musical. It is the original book. It's the Lon Chaney.
The way you said that, I'm like, this has to be that he's doing an adaptation.
Oh
of
yeah.
the book.
Yeah. I don't think Guillermo del Toro has ever done a musical, and
nobody wants him to.
No.
All right, so
let him single-handedly revive the Universal monsters on his own.
Okay,
yes,
Jeff.
please.
Hey, Jeff, talk about this movie.
Everything about this movie is absolutely
references she doesn't get.
No, she knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Everything about this movie is absolute perfection. Guillermo del Toro is a stickler for live action, for real props, real sets. He uses CGI at a bare minimum. I think the majority of the CGI, I think the biggest CGI was the freaking wolves.
Obviously.
Yeah, admittedly, they didn't look that good. But
it was clear when one of the wolves started playing with yarn.
Everything about this movie is so gorgeous to look at. I love all of the details I go into. Just looking at the laboratory, even that giant stone relief of Medusa, and reading about why that was chosen. The idea of Medusa being the symbol of who is the monster, the monster that was created by the gods or the gods that created them. It's just brilliant, Jacob Elordi, who I had never seen anything before this, blew me away as the monster. He was just so good. Again, all practical makeup, looking incredible. All of the actors have wonderful chemistry together. I love the scenes of Frankenstein and Elizabeth. I don't know why Del Toro decided to change it where Elizabeth was William's fiance and not Victor's fiance.
I can answer that, but it's a little bit glib in my. If I have a gripe with this, Del Toro decided that a giant portion of what he was doing with this was largely a humiliation ritual for the character of Victor Frankenstein. So of course he can't be married and have aspirations like that. He's got to be the cuck. Used appropriately in this case, as he does desire Elizabeth.
I thought it was more the idea of, fine, you don't want to be with me, then I'll just completely devote myself to my work. The idea that perhaps if Elizabeth had chosen him, maybe he wouldn't have gone down this path any further than he already had. So that was my interpretation. Christoph Waltz is a new character, wasn't in the book, but still, he's great in this. I love the dialogue, all the scenes between him and Oscar Isaac, discussing the work, looking at the board that has the nervous system,
lymphatic system.
The lymphatic system essentially lacquered on it was fascinating.
Those planks are real. They are ridiculously impressive too.
Yeah, no kidding. It is not a 100% faithful adaptation of the book, but I thought it was just, I can't find really that much wrong with it. Even the idea of the monster coming in saying, my maker has told you his tale, now I will tell you mine. I thought, again, made a lot more sense because, as I mentioned when we were talking about this before, the book is presented as letters that the captain is writing. So I think it makes a lot more sense to have the monster come in rather than people stop, kind of stop in their tracks and go, wait a minute. So now Frankenstein is telling the captain what the monster told him. Just, gets a little overlaid, especially since we do keep cutting back to the cabin with them telling the story.
It's much neater than the nested storytelling that you can get away with in a novel.
Exactly. Like I said, I just cannot find anything wrong with this film. There are some moments the CGI with the wolves is a little lackluster, and there are parts that I wish were a little bit more loyal to the book, but I just loved everything about this film, and it has immediately taken the number one spot. If Sinners has finally been dethroned, Frankenstein is my number one movie of 2025.
I largely agree with Alexis. Shock of all shocks. It's a beautiful film. Everything to me is pitch perfect. The story, the length. I mean, normally we complain about movies that are almost 3 hours long because they don't earn their length. This one does. Every minute, every frame, every relationship in this movie, I think is sharp. I love the relationship between the creature and the old man. You know, they have that mentorship. He derives humanity from him. Um, I like as I said in my opening statement, I got a lot out of the creation, parentage, abandonment thing. That cycle, that theme, that relationship between Victor and the monster. Um, but they didn't overplay their hand. They didn't overly dramatize it. They didn't turn it into a telenovela. You know, why did you, father? Why did you abandon me? I is Mia. You know, like they didn't go that far. But it's there. You'd have to be blind to have not seen it. And I liked all that. I like what the movie speaks to. The costuming in this was fantastic. Um, I mean, the men's costumes for the most part look all period. Not that a historian of wardrobe historian, but they all look good to me.
We need Shay and Mick here to talk about that.
But it looked spot on to me. I didn't notice anything. I'm more talking about on the occasion that you got to see Mia Goth. Some of the dresses they got her in and the hairdo and everything looked really, really great. Good makeup, good costuming. Creature looks great. Jacob Elordi, I think did a really great. We talk about this a lot, where a lot of actors can't act with the makeup on. He did a fantastic job. Really, like he knew the assignment and did it well. Did it like a professional. I made a joke about this before when I was reading the opening. I'm not going to go into a big long thing about this. As Alexis said, I think she's a child. She thinks I'm a grumpy old man, and my girlfriend agrees with you. I get called Boomer a lot, despite being born in 1976. So I don't want to go into
Boomer is just slang for anyone older than you, the same way millennial is slang for anyone younger than you.
Really? I thought Boomer was just somebody who actually does his responsibilities as a man. But going on.
Robert, it's not millennial anymore. Now we're making fun of Gen Z.
Anywho, I don't want to go into a whole side thing. Everything I'm about to say I've kind of said before and taken the time to explain what I mean, so I'm not going to over-explain myself. I hate what Marvel and Star Wars has done to really good actors. It's nice to get a reminder that Oscar Isaac can act and act well, and that he deserved better than the fucking character he got in the Star Wars movies. Yuck. He's phenomenal in this. While he is both the star and the villain of this thing, in the tragic sense, what fools we would be if we got mad at everybody trying to push the bounds of science, sometimes to their own demise. I think it's an egg worth breaking. And I'm not going to spend my time clutching my pearls and being mad at a guy who was trying to figure out what you could do with life, if anything at all. Get mad at him for abandoning this person that he brought into the world and took no responsibility for. Like I said in my opening statement, that's what you get mad at him for. The fact that he did it is not the thing. At least in my personal estimation. And I think the movie does a really good job of splitting those hairs. I didn't notice the score. That's kind of your thing. If it had jumped out at me, I would have said something. But and I watched it on an iPad, so I couldn't tell you if the sound design was any good. One of the drawbacks of these straight-to-Netflix movies is some of the craft gets a little lost, especially the way I watch them. The thing is, I tend to watch 9 out of 10 movies on my iPad while laying face down in my own disaster of a life. I
was about to ask, was I the only one that got to see this in theaters?
You are.
I didn't. At least one of my brothers did, and he loved it.
Yeah. Outside of that, I don't have a lot to say other than this, Companion, and Nana's are my top 3. And right now it's neck and neck with Nana's. I'll make a final decision in a couple of weeks when we do the year in review. But depending on how I'm feeling that day and what the AI tells me my opinion is, because that's where I'm at in life. This is either the number 1 or number 2 movie of the year for me. It is hands down a grand slam. Robert?
Yeah, this is easily one of the best movies of the year. I don't have an actual order lined out for mine yet. Frankly, I've got a couple of movies on there that I fully anticipate going away when I start to actually watch a few more things that came out this year.
By the way, I just really quick, because I didn't mention it at the opening because we were busy doing this, but I took my kids to go see Hamnet over the weekend. That was the movie of the weekend that we saw instead of Ellen McRae. And that's on the short list for Best Picture, period, not just nominee. It's probably going to win Best Picture of the year. I added that to I took out whatever I had in there, and it's now Begonia, Marty Supreme, and Hamnet is our triple feature Oscar show in early January. Just FYI.
You had because the old calendar says it's
Sentimental Value, I think it was.
Yeah, Sentimental Value.
I took that out and I put Hamnet in, just so you get in case you want to go see it in the theater before it comes out. And
I don't think I want to drive that far.
Okay. Well, between now and January, try to find it if it doesn't go to.
I will between now and then. Look, by that point, I should be able to rent it somewhere. It's one of those movies that's not.
I hope so. The one fucking movie with the black kids last year, was done in the ta-da nick of time, and the Brazilian movie never made it to fucking streaming before the Oscars. So before our Oscar show. Anyway,
that was what it was. I agree with you about Oscar Isaac. Nice to get a reminder that he can act. Jacob Elordi is really, really, really good. He looks like a better Cenobite than anyone from the most recent Hellraiser movie. So big ups to the. I will die on that hill, by the way. If I
no, we are not going to. For the record, Andrew Garfield was apparently supposed to play the monster. Dropped out from scheduling conflicts.
That was for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Garfield's an amazing actor. I think he's really good, but
I think he would have been fine, but I like what we got here, and now I can't imagine anyone else doing it.
Exactly. It's not a case of, he would have ruined it, but I mean, he probably would have given us a fine performance, but Elordi's performance just was amazing.
I think if I, again, have some gripes with this, the CGI is not exceptionally good. It's not, comically bad, but it is definitely noticeable. And your individual mileage will vary on how much that bothers you, but it's there and it needs to be said out loud. Apart from that, the set design is great. The Del Toro's insistence on physical locations and whatnot is a really, really good one. We have Will N05E here chiming in with my one criticism is the monster looked like Nebula. There's some line work on the makeup that I can see the Nebula comparison.
So this other line, the wolves were comically bad. I made a joke that it was like they were playing with yarn. Yeah, I mean when they were doing it, when they're doing the attack, you focus on the attack. When the couple of the wolves fucked off and ran away, I kind of looked at it and went, "Look, kitty."
Yeah.
Well, again, Del Toro, his films are notorious. It's the practical effects, amazing. The hand-built sets, incredible. The CGI, you watch that scene in Blade 2 of Blade fighting against the light. It's I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were watching an episode of Ladybug and Cat Noir.
Let's let Robert get through his, because you guys were good about me. We were all good about you, and then we were all over Robert like the wolves on the old man. So let's keep going.
It's late. There are wolves after me. So that's all really good. I think what I was somewhat let down by, and this is a me issue, not necessarily a film issue. The decision to focus the kind of heart of this on basically being a parental relationship. It works for this movie. It's really well done. When I say that's not necessarily what I wanted, again, that I acknowledge that's a me thing. So before anyone yells at me for not taking the movie on its own terms, happy to do so. If you want one of my criticisms, here it is. If Guillermo del Toro, of all people, perfectly suited for this movie, this story, all of it, is not going to really kind of dig into some of the nuance and the philosophical underpinnings of the relationship between Frankenstein and the creature, I don't think anyone is, and that just profoundly disappoints me. As it stands, again, it's a lot about fathers and sons. It's a lot about, boy, my dad was abusive and absentee. Guess what I turned into be? I'm an abusive and absentee father to this creature I created. Hey, ain't life grand? Time is a flat circle.
Yeah, and circular.
And that, it's good, it's well done, it's well acted. There's definitely some catharsis when they finally do reconcile at the end. It just, I don't know. I was a little bit disappointed in that because I wanted something more. But once again, me. Yeah, I think that's really my only major gripe. Del Toro has a big kind of bone to pick with Victor Frankenstein for some reason, so he makes him pretty explicitly nothing but the villain. And the creature is nothing but sympathetic. And again,
it's a very modern telling of Frankenstein when you put it that way, which I remember about an hour ago when I said, you know, you make it for the people who you're selling it to.
Again, I get the why. I really do. And it's again, if it's going to be that way, this is executed as about as well as it's going to be. I'm just kind of also somewhat I don't lament the death of like subtlety and nuance and interest in, Marvel or Star Wars or whatnot. Like, I hate that they've become as dumb as they are, but I don't need deep philosophical conversations between Captain Marvel and What's Her Nuts. Like, I don't. It's not benefiting anything.
Gosh, I remember I read the entire Dan Slott run of What's Her Nuts.
I'm sure you did. But I could have used some more depth of what's going on between the creature and Victor, especially once the creature becomes more intelligent. And it's one scene, and I'm just left bereft of what I wanted out of that.
Can I tell you, it's funny that you're reacting that way, and you're entitled to, and I'm not really fighting you on it, but in contrast, because I like the fact that you and I have such different takeaways from everything. I watched that and I went, it's refreshing to see a movie end with a conversation.
Oh, like, that's true.
Sometimes it's like, it's a little anticlimactic, don't you think? But we'd already had him throwing them around the room. We'd already had at least one or two bombs go off. Like they done Daffy Duck blowing himself up already. What's there left to do? And instead of doing what every other movie does, which is up the ante and have an over the top fuck all ending, they were like, can we just talk? Like Joan Rivers, can we talk? And they do. And they were like, all right, I guess we know each other a little. Like, this is where it's earned. That fucking Faramir line, like, I guess we know each other a little bit better now, don't we? And then the monster fucks off and Victor dies. It's like, perfect. Bravo.
I do love that. Like, I appreciate that. If there's another knock on the Kenneth Branagh adaptation, their decision to have the finale be like in a burning build as the ship's on fire on the Arctic and there's an explosion wasn't odd. Like, that was a studio note. It was very, very obviously.
And then the dam broke. But
I'll say, and I mean, the dialogue here, an idea, a feeling became clear to me. The hunter did not hate the wolf did not hate the sheep, but violence felt inevitable between them. Perhaps I thought this was the way of the world. It would hurt you and kill you just for being who you are.
Congratulations. You discovered naturalism. Good job.
Well, that's also, we have so many professional victims out there, though. That's also a very modern motif.
It is. And I think if there is something that did kind of feel like I was personally let down, it's mostly that. This became modern in a way that is understandable, especially if I'm signing the check for this thing. But I was really, I kind of just expected more out of Del Toro in particular with this material than what we got. What we got is very, 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 very good. This is going to be on my top 10 list. It's going to be very near the top. It might be the top spot. I don't know exactly. Like I said, I haven't organized everything. And there's a few movies I haven't seen that I definitely think are going to wind up there. But I'm still waiting for a version of this story. It doesn't even have to be like a strict adaptation. This could be one of those, inspired by things that really kind of gets the nuance and sort of like because both the creature and Victor at different points become like better people, and then they wind up back in each other's orbits, and whoever shows up makes the other one's life worse. And there's something about that, especially as it relates to, because there's a million of those that are like humans, right? That are just people to people. Boy, we're not great for each other. A million of those. There is something kind of uniquely philosophical about what's going on with Victor and the creature, especially when, okay, if I have one more, permit me one more minor gripe with this. Del Toro, I feel like this was intentional, and I'm not even saying that I don't know how he would have gone about this. He really eschews a lot of the like religious conversation that is spurned on both in the novel and sort of around this.
I don't know if you heard me say it already because I've been really subtle about it, but this is a very modern movie.
I'm aware.
There is, I say this as a friend, but also as a mental health professional and somebody who has observed you for the past 15 years. There's not a lot of appetite for overtly religious discussion in popular fiction. There just isn't.
I'm very aware of that.
Especially in second screen viewing.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. And again, it's a minor thing that I would have liked to have seen explored more. Frankly, the entire story of Frankenstein is actually a giant epic. When you actually look at the amount of time it takes and the distance it covers. Same thing with Dracula. Like, Dracula spans a giant chunk of the European continent.
I was going to say, the fact that they made an entire movie on just the boat ride.
Yeah, like that's kind of, Frankenstein is similar to that in terms of like generalized scope. So what we got here, like I said, it's very, 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 very good. Go read the book too, is my only other big takeaway from this. And I would say that, even if I say that even if because Kenneth Branagh's version is a much more like faithful adaptation. My advice after that is still go read the book. And
I will say Kenneth Branagh did have actually my all-time favorite line from a Frankenstein movie, in that it's a scene where the monster is talking to him on the glacier, and he picks up the flute and he goes, "Did you know I could play this? Well, where did the talent come from? My hands, my brain, what of my soul, or was that just a piece you forgot to put in?"
Yeah, the discussion of the soul in this, despite what I said 2 seconds ago, discussion of the soul in this, when they were thinking about the idea of animating a stitched together series of corpses to create new life, and they were like, "And have you considered where the soul's going to go?" And Victor was like, "I don't have time for that sort of thing. I'm just trying to soul schmoll."
Don't you understand? I am a devotee of Carl Sagan.
Well, there is a line in this one, but I had never considered what would come after creation. In having reached the edge of the earth, there was no horizon left.
Yeah. That is like, again, that's a really good line, especially because, correct me if I'm wrong, but that has De Niro as the creature, right? It's been a minute since I've seen Branagh's version.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was what kind of made a lot of people roll their eyes. It's like, really? Robert De Niro is playing Frankenstein's monster? I think we all just imagine him with the giant green head.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
They made a weird choice in the marketing of that where they didn't show the creature. And consequently, you envision De Niro again in the Karloff makeup, which is not what they did at all. But
no, the makeup was realistic of what you would expect someone stitched together like that would look like.
Their decision not to show that meant everyone had a different picture in their head than what they actually got. And
So you before said Cenobite. Honestly, I looked at the creature in this one and thought engineer.
Okay. I can see
a lot. I'm waiting for the compilations of people putting the clips up of that with somebody that I used to know.
That's okay. I'm guaranteeing there's going to be a TikTok series of showing the creature, and there'll be some text or whatever, and under the heading relationship goals. So.
Yeah, because nothing builds a strong relationship like, boy, I saw you when you were an infant, mentally and emotionally, and now
and thought, now's my chance, and turned you into something I can use forever. I'm a hurt, bitter man.
For what it's
Lawrence,
worth,
it's okay.
I should also point out the rest of the cast in this. Obviously, we talked about our four main actors. I love David Bradley as the old man. It's still kind of weird. It's like, oh look, it's Argus Finch and Walden Frey. Oh, he's actually a good guy. Okay, that's different.
Well, it helps that he's blind.
Right.
You also had
Right.
wasn't it Charles Dance who was the original?
Well, yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you because God knows there's enough of that on this podcast, but you were just like, Charles Dance plays a very mean father. Like, yes, he's being very Charles Dance about the whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, you get Charles Dance to play the father, he's going to be an asshole. And I don't know if you've seen The Monkey yet, Mark, but the guy who plays young Frankenstein played the younger twins in The Monkey.
Yeah.
I have not seen The Monkey yet.
You would get a kick out of The Monkey.
Oh, absolutely.
I have time.
You have to understand it's on my list right now of like 10 best.
Mm-hmm.
Mine too.
Okay. I got to get a viewing of that and Weapons, and I think like Kat wanted me to do a whoever directed Weapons directed at least one or two other movies I was interested in. So I think we talked about me and her doing a triple feature of that director where I'm gonna take a shot at Weapons, since I know you guys did it already, but I didn't do it, so it doesn't count.
That's the problem. He's only directed 2 movies.
There's then there was something that she proposed doing Weapons, and I said we'd already done it, and I was like, well, we turned this into a triple feature, blah blah yakety schmackety. I came up with something I don't remember when or where. That's kind of my motto these days. I came up with something I don't remember when or where. All right, I'd like to get to the money, so I'm doing the money. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the money.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Yes, now. Frankenstein. There is no money.
It had a
However,
very limited theatrical run that was moderately successful for how limited it was, but it's a Netflix movie.
Yeah, Netflix threw some money at this thing. They threw $120 million at it. It earned every penny. The limited run in the box office so that it would be eligible for awards, which it is. I can talk about that. This thing is on the short list for Best Picture, alongside Hamnet, Begonia, One Battle.
Those are kind of the 4 that really should be, and we should not give One Battle After Another too much credence.
But it made around 480,678. Let me go to.
I would say the theatrical release is actually interesting because from what I gather, they had never intended to give it a full theatrical release, but the outcry from the fans when they saw the trailer is like, why are we not seeing this on the big screen?
Well, let me give you some knowledge here. Frankenstein landed its world premiere in the main competition of the 82nd Venice International Film Festival on August 30th, 2025. For its North American premiere, Frankenstein made it to the special presentations program of the Toronto International Film Festival, where it was screened on September 8th of 2025. It also was presented in the gala presentation at the 30th Busan International Film Festival, September 18th of 2025, and as a headline gala of the 69th BFI London Film Festival on October 13th, 2025. For its Mexican premiere, everyone was given a taco. It was also screened at the Morelia International Film Festival.
That's racist.
Hi, I'm Mark, if we met. The film was released in the select theaters on October 17th, where it was screened for Alexis and Alexis only. It also included select screenings on 35mm and IMAX, followed by a global release on Netflix November 7th. Distribution from Mexico's release in select theaters was handled by Pimenta Films. We'll talk about the critical review in a little bit. It's already like won a whole bunch of awards or been nominated for some. It won for top 10 films, the American Film Institute Award. It's won an Astra Film Award for Best Costume Design. I'm so smart. Best Makeup and Hairstyling. I'm so smart. And for Best Production Design. We all agreed on that anyway. So it doesn't, Oscar Isaac, reminding everyone he can act, won a Celebration of Cinema and Television Award. Tamara Deverell won for Best Art Direction, Best Production Design at the Chicago Film Critics Association. Kate Hawley for Best Costume Design. Guillermo del Toro won Cinema Audio Society Awards Filmmaker Award. There's a bunch of pending. The Oscars have not been announced yet. As we discussed, I believe it was last week or a week before that, it was nominated for Best Motion Picture Drama, Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director, and Best Original Score for the Golden Globes. That's all
Several
pending.
of those it should win.
I'll say I'm really, like I said, if Elordi does not win this and also does not get the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, I will be shocked.
All right, it's won a whole bunch of other awards. Nothing tremendously jumps out at me. So yeah, obviously pretty well agreed upon. The consensus viewing is this is like, if not the best movie, one of the best movies of the year. Here's the thing. I saw Hamnet. Stiff competition. That is, I don't want to get too much into it. I will tell you that my son, who is more Robert Winfrey than he is Mark Radulich, struggled with the movie. However, much like Coco, all these years later, by the time that movie was over, my daughter and I, bawling messes. Just inconsolable. And my daughter had some interesting things to say about it, not the least of which made her reflect upon her own relationship with her brother. And then we talked about it, and she then reflected again differently. But this, never
That
mind
tends
there.
to happen once you get feedback.
Yeah. I had a thought while I was watching Hamnet. I don't know if you guys remember the American Dad episode where they were riffing on James Bond, and
Yeah.
Roger is playing like
Tearjerker.
and like his villainous plot was to make the saddest film ever.
People
It
and
was like-
people literally cry themselves to death.
Death, yeah.
Yeah.
So Hamnet feels like somebody took that as a challenge.
Well, it's Chloe Zhao. She probably did.
Well, it's so funny. Well, actually, my son's reaction. So the movie is over, and he was just like, "What was the point of any of this?" Meanwhile, like my daughter's like, "I need a minute. I can't even get out of my seat," and I'm like, trying to pull myself together. And my son's like looking at me. He's like, "Father," he called me father. He said, "Father, what was the point of any of this?" And then he was like, "Who directed this anyway?" And I'm like, "Chloe Zhao." And he went, "The broad who did the Eternals? How did that happen?" And I'm like, "Well, son, she's more known for stuff like this than she is the Eternals."
She did Nomadland, which bordered on exploitative.
I was going to say, The Eternals is the odd man out in her filmography.
Yes, Alexis, is the point of that story is I explained that Eternals was an egregious mistake and it should never be repeated, and we shall never speak of the shortcut again. I told him like that was an outlier. That's not really what she does, and that's why it turned out the way that it did, despite the fact that I liked it, and we'll double down on this every day until I'm dead. But yeah,
Go on your tombstone. Liked the Eternals.
Yes, devoted father, like the Eternals.
Which will, in fact, get people to deface your tombstone.
Just like you would think after the Eternals and Ang Lee's Hulk, they have learned that just because you are a brilliant, award-winning film director does not mean you are cut out to make any kind of movie.
Jonas was really fucking hilarious about that. He was just like, "Why are we letting all these fucking artsy indie directors direct big Marvel movies? Like they clearly can't handle it." And then proceeded to walk out of the theater with his nose in the air. I was like, "I have ruined that boy."
He's not wrong,
but he's not wrong.
All right, let's get to the actual money here. Zootopia, despite all of this, retained its spot in the top
Reclaimed
spot. Yeah,
it knocked down Five Nights at Freddy's. Rightfully so.
It won the rematch and reclaimed its top spot as the #1 movie.
Hey, only a 70% drop for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. That only bodes horribly.
Wicked remained the #3 for the 3 weeks. Duran Duran got its wide release apparently. It went from 9 to 4. Now You See Me, no one else did. Remained the spot at #5. Jujutsu Kaisen anime Japanese dropped from 4 to 6. Ella McKay apparently debuted at #7 and got really bad scores. I happened to just catch that as I was setting up the show tonight. Glad I didn't take my kids to go see it.
Yeah, that one.
Tell the director to stick with The Simpsons. It's become abundantly clear he doesn't know what he's doing with feature-length films.
The re-release of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, I think, with Jim Carrey, debuted at 8. Eternity dropped from 7 to 9. The Shining re-release.
For the record,
10.
if you've never seen The Shining on the big screen, go. It's worth it.
Silent Night, Deadly Night debuted at 12.
Is that a remake
25.
or is that another re-release?
No, that's a remake.
Oh, God.
Atropia, 36. The King of Colors, the story of Robert Winfrey, debuted at number 42.
Mark, I have all the colors.
Yes, you do. All right, and that was the weekend that was worldwide. There we go. Zootopia, speaking of beating people for titles, beat Lilo and Stitch and has become the third movie to reach $1 billion this year. What bothers me about this is the the propaganda that we're gonna have to. I hate the fact that we work so hard. We work so hard, Robert Winfrey, to dispel the myths, to sort through the propaganda, to bring truth to the people. We are not appreciated for what we do.
No, we are not, because we can't couch it in AI terminology or condense it into a 15-second soundbite, so nobody cares.
We are going to watch, and I will put money on this, which I will win, unlike the bets that I made tonight on the Steelers game, that the following is true, that the Variety and the Hollywood Reporter and all the rags are going to be like, Disney, triumphant. Disney is not triumphant. It had 2 hits and a lot of misses. Can we please, propriety, can we please use math and put truth in the world, people? Disney is not having a good year. It just had 2 hits. It had so many other failures.
Well, maybe they're saying it's a good year because you look at what they did for the last 2 years before that, and it's like, well, nowhere else to go but up.
My point is, in my own silly way, is we're going to have to fucking... it hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen.
We're going to have to deal with the people who like... Disney had a great year. What about Marvel? They're not Disney. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about
Pixar,
Disney.
Fucking, let's just line them up one by one, like a North Korean fucking mass grave. Just like all of these movies, all shot in the head. None of them successful. And then they had 2 successes. Both of them went over $1 billion. I mean, like, what are we grading on a curve here? Anyway,
yes,
that's my.
If you're a Hollywood trade, yes, you are.
Like fucking Wizard of Oz over here.
It's the same curve that makes up the D in Disney.
Like 2 movies hit over $1 billion. Disney had a bad year. What about all these other movies? Pay no attention to that. That's hogwash, is what that is.
No. Again, it's not as bad as it was before. So yeah, Bob Iger's sitting there going, "Yay! I don't have to suck on a bullet."
I don't know how, but Bob Iger made me miss Michael Eisner. I did not think that was possible.
Anyway,
that's a new one.
So Zootopia has
1.1 billion.
Yep. Knocked Lilo and Stitch to 3. Nothing else really changed here except Superman's now is on the 9 spot. Mission Impossible is in 10. And I would like to remind everybody, not a single fucking Marvel movie made the top 10 this year.
Dude,
by the
Superman
way, Disney owns Marvel.
Superman might get knocked out of that spot.
Avatar is coming out, yeah.
Superman might not be in the top 10. Never mind that, James Gunn is plowing ahead with the DC stuff as the sword of Damocles hangs over his head these days.
All right. Well, right now, 600 million is the line. Wicked for Good is currently at 468 million.
It ain't getting there. Can we just talk for a second about how Wicked for Good is going to do half?
Yeah.
Of what the first one did? Ooh.
Considering like sequels are supposed to do better, not have diminishing returns. Not good. Not a good look for Universal. But yeah, Avatar more than likely.
Dude, the fact that Wicked for Good beat everything that Marvel released except Fantastic Four is pretty damning.
It's so far. Wait till it actually, it has to clear 600 million to beat Mission Impossible. It only has to clear 521 million to beat the Fantastic Four. I
don't know. It might, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay, so a couple of things. One, Christmas break is coming up. Wicked for Good is going to be in theaters through January.
That's
and Alexis,
help.
Don't fight me on this because last year you and I went around and around and I was correct. So I will. Let's just assume I'm always right. I'm always right. They're going to do sing-along versions of this. That'll bring the broads back to the theater again because, let me tell you, walking up to the theater, my daughter was like, I can't wait to sing in the movie theater. And I punched her in the face, and I collected her after the movie was over.
Well, see, I disagree because the songs that people love to sing from Wicked are in the first act.
Like, that'll stop them. They'll all be singing to fucking Defy Gravity during the non-singing parts.
In fairness, though, Mark, it might deter people from spending money to do it.
Whatever. I have faith. I don't believe in much these days, but I have faith that it'll beat the Fantastic Four. I'll say that.
You know what? I hope you're right, just for the meme, but I'm not sure about
Just
it.
for the lulls.
Yes.
I will say this: a little disappointed Thunderbolts isn't beating Captain America, because I thought Thunderbolts was much more engaging of a movie than Brave New World.
I think they are equally trash and are both on the bonfire where they should be.
I'm not saying Thunderbolts is anywhere near my top 10. I'm just saying I thought it was better than Brave New World. That's all.
Here are the movies currently doing worse than Snow White at 205 million. One Battle After Another, Predator Badlands, Five Nights at Freddy's, HBO Chainsaw Man, Freaky or Friday. Boy, there's an awful lot of Disney on this list.
Wait. I do have to remind everyone, all the publications and the Twitter accounts out there carrying water for the Predator Badlands. You couldn't beat Snow White. Shut up.
Tron Ares. Boy, this is a fucking graveyard of movies here. Ballerina, Mickey 17, Black Phone 2, Smurfs, Karate Kid Legends.
Oy.
The
Smurfs
Accountant
did better
2,
than Karate Kid Legends. That's
Yes, it
sad.
did.
Downton Abbey, The Naked Gun, and then we're into not even now we're into less than 100 million. No, thank you. I'm not going to keep reading this. So that's
That's where we are, man. It has been you and I have done the math on this, Mark. We've talked about it. This has been another rough year for the movie industry.
Yep, I did a thing on TikTok about. So there was an article about one of the news cycles on TikTok. Was Micron's pulling its Crucial RAM off the market. It's going to start selling direct to. It's going to start selling direct to AI companies because, there's more money to be made selling bulk to other companies than there is to be selling, the ham and eggers building a home computer at home. Apparently, I don't build home computers, so I had to learn on the fly as I was talking about this. But essentially, I asked, won't somebody else just step into it? And the answer I got was not really, not enough to save this. This is the end of that industry for the average consumer. And
there's a non-trivial chance that the end game for this is the death of home computing. And trying to make that all hey, connect to the cloud.
Well, the question that inevitably gets asked in all of this is how does anyone make money if nobody sells to consumers? And they don't sell, they rent. Is the answer I got. You subscribe. So anyway,
everything is about to become a subscription model.
Right, and we're also not counting portable devices as home computing either.
No.
So that said,
your phones are about to go back to 4 gigs of RAM for the next generation. Congratulations, AI douchebags! You found a way to make technology regress.
Anyway, so if anyone's wondering what I just said in real language, essentially, we're all, your home computer is going away, and you're all going to have tablets and phones, and that's going to be computer life from now on. And glasses for those of you who can afford them. Anyway, I wrote about all of this, but I did so I said, let's do comparative analysis. What's happening to home computing is what's happening to the movie industry, is what's happening to sports. And I said, this is what they were, this is what they've become, this is why they've done that, this is why all three look like each other. So that was my TikTok on that. Didn't do nearly as well as the 13,000 people arguing with me about Madeline Pendleton's interpretation of North Korea, but that's a horror story for a different day.
Oy vey.
Oh, you don't know the heck. You should, dude. I fucking 13,000 views on this TikTok of me going, I don't know what she's talking about with North Korea is all the way right. Like I fucking went on a rape spree, in someone's neighborhood. That's how they reacted. This poor besieged lady of the night of the slightly disagreed that I was with her. Then I attacked the conservative and nobody gave a shit.
No one does, Mark. Mark, it's the internet. No one cares when you make fun of the conservatives.
Fair.
Especially on TikTok.
So timing is everything. Did you want to talk about Rob Reiner?
Yeah, we probably should at least mention this before we move on to the critical review. So Did you kick Alexis out intentionally, or is she coming
No,
back? Or what?
her thing says device is not connected. I think her
Okay.
camera heard me say, "What are you treating me like a rapist?" and it ran away.
Could be. Okay.
Oh, there she is.
No, I just had to go let my dog or close the door because my dogs were back in before I slowly froze to death. And I took that moment of you saying rape spree and said, you know what, this would be a good time for me to.
That's my cue.
This
There
is
you
where I
are.
came in. So
You're probably
yeah,
wondering how I got to this point. Go ahead.
record scratch. Yeah, but on a more serious note, we should mention, yesterday, Sunday, Rob Reiner and his wife were found dead in their home in Los Angeles. The details of this are becoming more and more tragic and horrific. So understand what I'm about to relay is reporting that I've gleaned from other people who several of these have like multiple sources confirmed. None of this should be taken as gospel. This is what we know right now. Again, they were found dead with knife wounds. Current investigative line of reasoning and thinking is that this was done by their son. They have a son who has had a long history of drug problems and mental health issues.
Homelessness.
He's the one that collaborated with Rob Reiner on what was the movie called?
Something Charlie.
Yeah, that was largely about his son's experiences. They apparently had some kind of an altercation at a Hollywood party earlier in the evening. I think it was Conan O'Brien's was the name I
Mhm.
heard, but again, don't
Yeah.
quote me. And yeah, they were found dead by one of their daughters who just got back from vacation. So yeah, that's about as horrible as it gets. Rob Reiner gave us some movies that I love. He had a really, really tremendous run from like This Is Spinal Tap through A Few Good Men, where I don't think he made a bad movie.
I'm
So
going to
he
be
didn't
Alexis.
just.
I'm going to be Alexis here and actually read you some of the more popular movies people should know because again, people don't always connect directors to movies. He directed and produced the Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men. These were movies that like made the 90s.
Yeah.
The
I was
American
gonna say that
President.
his. Sorry, go ahead.
You're talking about Being Charlie, by the way.
That's
Thank you.
He wrote, directed, and produced Flipped. The last thing he did was this past year, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. Go ahead, Alexis.
Say Rob Reiner's films are crucial parts of cinema. These are all movies that when you talk about some of the best in so many of these categories, I mean, he directed Misery, which is considered one of the best horror adaptations. Stand by Me, one of Stephen King's best adaptations. Princess Bride, one of the best fantasy stories. Spinal Tap. His films are just so linked
It's
to
funny.
the concept of cinema itself.
I want to back up with you saying it's funny, him and I had his name and then I lost it. Directed solo, was on Happy Days. There's a reason why I'm mentioning that.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, yeah.
Howard, yeah.
It's funny because you had in Rob Reiner and Ron Howard, two people known for acting in very popular series in their day. You had Rob Reiner, who played Meathead on All in the Family, a movie based on my life. I am Archie Bunker.
God, that's actually way too accurate. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Once or twice I have referred
A little
to
bit less racism, a little bit more misogyny.
I have on very many occasions as of late referred to Erica as Edith, and try to get her to saying those were the days. But and Ron Howard, who people may not know this, but before Ron Howard became a famous director, very successful famous director, despite some misses, we all have them, was on Happy Days. He was one of the stars of Happy Days alongside what's his place who played the Fonz. So
Henry Winkler,
yeah. So Rob Reiner and almost synonymous with film. These guys that came from acting and then went on to. Because there was a lot of that back in the 80s and 90s. Like guys that had very successful acting careers, transitioned into directing, then went on to direct the movies that defined the genre. Defined, like when I say the genre, I mean the genre of format. They defined what movies were to a lot of people, and really inspired. Like, you went crazy the couple of years ago for the movie that was kind of maybe not really about Spielberg. There are more Spielbergs than not out there. Rob Reiner was one of them. Ron Howard's another one. There's so many directors that I think are right there with Spielberg, and creating the movies that made people not want to just be casual movie watchers, but fans of the film industry, and then want to go make their own movies. I didn't have a lot to say about this. I can appreciate everything Rob Reiner gave this world without becoming particularly emotional about his untimely demise. It's unfortunate. But as Robert and I were talking before the podcast started, there's a lot of that going around these days, and I'm sorry that happened. It's tragic. I would like to know more about the son, and more to the point, I would like to know more about how they parented that guy for him to become what he became. But that is a podcast of a different color. So I will turn it back over to you guys.
Yeah, again, if you want to understand, like, again, the great run that he had, he did, like, This Is Spinal Tap, followed by Stand By Me, followed by Princess Bride, followed by A Few Good Men. There's a couple in the, followed by Misery was before A Few Good Men, but When Harry Met Sally's in there. So you've got a guy who, when we talk nowadays about lamenting the death of certain, like, film genres, what's it mean to make a good comedic mockumentary? You show someone This Is Spinal Tap.
Or A
What's
Mighty
it mean?
Wind.
Yes. What's it mean to make a good romantic comedy? You show someone When Harry Met Sally.
For sure.
What's it mean to make a good courtroom drama? You show them A Few Good Men. What's it mean to make a coming of age movie? You show them Stand By Me. What's it mean to make a claustrophobic, almost two-person horror movie? Misery. What do you do? What do you want to do if you want to make the next Wizard of Oz? You show them The Princess Bride. Like, this guy made movies that are defining touchstones, not just of the subgenres, but like Mark said, of what it means to enjoy what film can do for you.
Everything that you just said, every movie you just said, is to this day still part ingrained, knitted in to the language, to our cultural language. The orgasm bit in When Harry Met Sally, I'll have what she's having.
The priest in Princess Bride. I mean, somebody put together a clip of all these videos that were found online of how many times they actually of a wedding, and they actually had the guy do the marriage speech.
But not only that, like, my name is Aldo Montoya.
Inigo Montoya.
Prepare to die. Does anyone want a peanut? I mean, Andre the Giant, mostly unintelligible, but somehow managed to get some of the funniest fucking lines in that movie. I don't think you know what that word means. Well, no, that's the other guy, but still. There's so I'm gonna kill you tomorrow. Okay. There's so many quotable lines in The Princess Bride.
You want the truth? You can't handle.
Yeah,
the truth.
I was just about getting to A Few Good Men.
It's probably also pointing out his films jump-started the careers of so many actors. Kevin Bacon actually did a video today talking about how when he got a call from Rob Reiner saying, "Hey, I want you to be in A Few Good Men," and he was just going nuts because Spinal Tap's his favorite movie. And you think about Kathy Bates winning the Oscar for Misery. She wasn't unknown, but she hadn't really had any major starring roles before then. And again, looking at the works of Andre the Giant and Mandy Patinkin and Carrie Elways and how they got launched from Princess Bride. So he has, like I said, he has created iconic films and launched the careers of so many actors.
Everyone in Stand By Me was one of those, 80s kid actors who some of them might have had, tragic. Some of the stuff that happened to them became tragic, but
poor Corey Feldman.
Well, I think we were thinking River Phoenix, but sure.
Both of them. I mean, there was that thing not too long ago where, like, I think it was Jerry O'Connell and Will Wheaton were on a talk show, and O'Connell said to him, like, I know we were kids at the time, but I'm sorry I wasn't more of a friend to you with what you were going through at that point in time.
Mm.
Like you
All right.
just
So all we can say is there's no. I don't do mindless speculation. That's another guy's podcast. But we hope that the facts come out and justice is served, and this family has an appropriate, timely, and you know, uh, people show love and come out and support and all of that. Anything else? Because if not, I'm going to move on.
just that apparently one of the things that came out of this investigation was that the LAPD had like drastically reduced their homicide division, and now robbery was doubling up with it. So, nice job, Los Angeles.
For what it's worth, our hearts and our minds, our thoughts go out to his surviving children.
Yeah.
We are so sorry you have to go through this.
It
This,
is.
right before the holidays to boot. This, we can't even begin to imagine what this is like for you.
Everything about this is awful, and
Well, that's a hell of a transition. into
no, everything about this is awful is a good transition into talking about the critical state of things.
There you go. So everything about this is awful. The critical review.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Now, I would have thought the critical score would have been higher.
I would have thought so too. I mean, I had some gripes with it, but I kind of thought that was just me.
So top critic,
Whoa.
Jesus Christ, goes down to 79.
I was not
All
expecting
critics is
that.
85. Verified audience is 94. All audiences. Did people not get this? Is that what's happening here? Have we gotten this dumb?
Okay.
Well,
let
yes,
me,
but that's beside the point.
let me guess with the
Look at
all
the ray of
audience.
sunshine being cynical.
Hang on. The all audience score going down is a bunch of idiots who did this as second screen viewing and went, wait, what? I don't understand. I wasn't paying attention, because you weren't paying attention. The critics I'm more baffled by.
Finding the humanity in one of cinema's most iconic monsters, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is a lavish epic that gets its most invigorating vault from Jacob Elordi's standout performance. All right, Alexis, I want you to tally every time someone does an electric joke.
Hang on, let me get a piece of paper.
All right, Robert Horton from The Scarecrow, if he only had a brain. Is it possible that Del Toro spent too many years thinking about everything he wanted to pour into a Frankenstein movie? Because this one, as handsomely dressed as you would expect, is crammed with ideas yet curiously lacking in there-ness.
Fairness?
I read that right. I'm
You
literate.
did. No, I'm baffled that a professional decided that was the appropriate word for this. Like, my man, the dictionary is online. You can, if you want to know an appropriate use of like large language models, get them to help you find appropriate synonyms for things you're trying to express. They actually are pretty good at it.
Seriously, I am struggling to figure out what there-ness means. Dr. Seuss made words that made more sense.
I mean, here's the thing. I can't even like say this is someone annoyed that Del Toro isn't doing enough of the current thing, because this is a very there's some modern sensibilities going on here that should appeal to a bunch of these morons.
All right, speaking of a bunch of morons, Mike Massey of Gone with the Twins.
Unless he's in Minneapolis, that's a really stupid title.
I would accept it. Or he saw this with Schwarzenegger and DeVito.
This may be
my singing was described as Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque not too long ago, and I thought of him on the airplane.
What were you doing, karaoke or some shit?
Let's not talk about why I don't sing in public, Mark. There's
This
a
could be-
civic ordinance, okay?
Propriety, sir. This may be a fresh adaptation with all of that flair and that auteur Guillermo del Toro brings to his productions, but there's little mystery or wonder to the proceedings.
What Guys, this is an old story. What mystery are you looking for here?
And wonder, what do you mean there was no wonder? This movie is pure wonder. If a Spielberg film is pure whimsy, a Del Toro film is pure wonder.
This is a guy who's like, boy, I sure do wish Ryan Johnson were here to subvert my expectations about Frankenstein.
Yes. Anyway, Joanne Laurier from Maddleton Pendleton's favorite movie review site, World Socialist website. We've been doing this for God knows how long now,
dude. If we had here's what you need to do, Mark. I'm not even joking about this.
Yeah.
When you do your AI, throw everything we say into a thing that gives you a transcript, and you throw that into a thing and like conglomerate it together into like a five paragraph thing. Put that on the website. Put the written thing on the website. We will get on there, and we are better than these people.
Fair enough. A visually imaginative work to some extent, with a number of urgent, disturbing sequences and an overall gravitas, but in its conceptions, in the end, fail to rise above the relatively pedestrian and predictable.
You are just throwing words out there. You are not actually thinking about what you're saying. It's very, very obvious.
It's always fascinating when we get a negative review and it's like, okay, I can understand why you were disappointed. It's like, I disagree with you, but I can see what you're talking about. And then you get reviews like that, and it's like, I cannot fathom what you were expecting.
I guarantee. Look, here's the thing: everyone wants some version of like Pan's Labyrinth and The Hobbit out of Guillermo del Toro, or fucking even better, Paradise, Pacific Rim. Honestly, I don't think they thought about what this was. They just saw Guillermo del Toro and thought, oh, he's the Hobbit guy, or would have been the Hobbit guy. He's Pacific Rim. He's Pan's Labyrinth. That's what I want. This is going to be the Frankenstein thrill ride, and it's not, because it's fucking Frankenstein.
Because no one actually watched Grinding Nemo. I mean, The Shape of Water. Which is,
hey, I love The Shape of Water.
I'll bet you do, the hot pants.
I liked The Shape of Water the first time I saw it. When I rewatched it, it dropped considerably in my estimation. But that's another story.
All right. Speaking of another story, Dwight Brown of DwightBrownInc.com.
You self-employed loser.
You said the thing. In the end, why is such an overwhelming production an underwhelming experience?
Because you are just sad that there wasn't a sky laser and a faceless army of drones to fight. You wanted this ending to have a Marvel moment. You didn't get it, and you threw a hissy fit. Go piss up a rope, as the expression goes.
Like I said, it's Guillermo del Toro doing Frankenstein. What were you expecting?
Felipe Freitas of Always Good Movies. This deceptive CGI-laden spectacle, split into two amorphous chapters, is weak and unsurprising, lacking coherence in several places.
Okay, there's only two moments of CGI where I actually kind of rolled my eyes. One, the wolves. Two, the scene where Frankenstein's climbing the tower to put the lightning conductor in. The green screen effect was admittedly a little lacking on that. That's it.
There's a few very small pieces that are a little bit jarring, but no, my man, no, you're way off on this one.
Yeah, it's like CGI lays. Like, again, Del Toro has made it clear he doesn't like using that much CGI. He prefers practical effects.
I've seen CGI laden. Watch a Marvel movie. There's nothing for them to interact with. It's all done on a set that's blue.
Pretty much.
Ethan J. Rosenberg of In Review Online, leagues ahead of 2017's god-awful abomination, The Shape of Water, but it's still genetically engineered to move us with pyrotechnics Del Toro uses to conceal his fundamental incompetence.
Wow,
gracious!
What an asshole!
Okay, did Guillermo del Toro run over your dog or something? Like, I'm not accepting that as anything other than a bunch of ad hominems. Like, you're not actually making a point here, my man.
It's like
your
fundamental. Del Toro may not be everyone's cup of tea, but fundamental incompetence?
This person thinks he directed Pacific Rim 2, about which we don't speak.
Of course not. That movie was terrible.
Alrighty. The opening of the film is great spectacle and truly. Marlon Wallace of the M Report. The opening of the film is this great spectacle and truly exciting grabber at the edges of the North Pole. Yet the ending went out with a whimper instead of a bang.
Once
this guy
again,
wanted the laser in the sky.
A guy who wants Punchy with the sky laser for his finale because he's an infant.
It's like that's the way the book ends. They corner each other on the boat and they forgive each other. Frankenstein passes away and the monster says, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go mosey on into the sunset. That's literally the ending of the book.
All right. Eileen Jones of the Jacobin. Del Toro preserves the bare bones of Shelley's plot, but changes so much else, bringing in so many other preoccupations of his own that a baggy, everything but the kitchen sink structure weighs the film down.
Okay, this person is touching on some of my issues with this, but pretending that somehow we then get to everything is weighed down. No, Guillermo del Toro, what he did was put his spin on it. That's what an adaptation is supposed to do, fundamentally. If all I wanted was what's on the book, I'd read the book. Like, if I want to... there's another thing. Like, there's a number of great lines in the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy that people assume are from the book that are not. It's an adaptation, not a recreation. Those are different things. And oh god, you found my melanin brother.
Shut up. Let me do my thing. Let me do it. Let me do the thing, Robert. From the Mirrorverse, Black Robert Winfrey, Armand White of National Review.
How does the Mirrorverse only make me black?
It also
Shouldn't there be other things that go on there?
Well, it also made him disagree with your position. That's why it's from the Mirrorverse.
Okay.
Del Toro's movie begins with a premise that intended to fascinate, but it's merely a banal excuse for his usual generic specialty: macabre pseudoscience and outlandish violence.
Okay, my man.
Violence.
The brief moments of violence in this movie actually stand out because they're so subdued. And apart from the slightly goofy effect of him ripping the one guy's lower jaw off, it all kind of... No. Look, I understand that this is very obviously and very noticeably a Guillermo del Toro movie. I don't consider that to be an inherent negative. I don't know why you're asking this guy to reinvent himself every other movie. He's not going to, nor should he at this point.
I was going to say, it's like his usual generic speciality, macabre suicide. Yeah, that's his wheelhouse. That's what he specializes in, and he really does well with it.
Sean Edwards of Fox 4 Kansas City, Alexis's neighbor. Go talk to this guy, Alexis. Tell him what's what.
By talk, we mean pelt with fish.
It felt like empty. It felt like empty calories. Dirty.
My man, I have done nothing but watch crappy Marvel movies and crappy Disney movies for most of this year. Shut up.
No kidding.
Brad East of Christianity Today. Not enough Christ. I mean, Del Toro is an inspired director, and Shelley's novel is classic, but this adaptation is a mess. It has its moments and its virtues, but I don't think we know what we're doing anymore. I honestly,
We're not even going to look for friends of the network or our usual people we make fun of.
No, apparently, we don't know what we're doing. I mean, granted, most people agreed with us, but I'm going to focus on the negative because that's where I am right now. Apparently, we don't know what we're fucking doing here. You know, all of these smarty pants that are on Rotten Tomatoes think this movie sucks, and we think it's the best movie of the year. The Disconnect, Robert Winfrey, flames on the side of my.
Look, let me throw one.
Deep inside is a young Madeline Kahn in all of us.
Well, naturally.
No. I do not have a young Madeline Kahn lurking somewhere inside of me, physically or psychologically.
You do. Get in touch with your inner Madeline Kahn.
Mark, I know what is. I know the rough analog you're going for.
Playing the game.
I know the rough.
Broken Alexis yet again.
I know the rough analog that it would be for me, and it's not Madeline Kahn.
Buddy Hackett,
I'm not answering that.
Rip Taylor.
And the answer's no.
Are you sure it's not Rip Taylor? Because I think deep inside of Robert Winfrey is this a quasi-gay comedian throwing confetti at people.
I don't know who Rip Taylor is.
Get the
What?
fuck out of here.
How do you not know who Rip Taylor is?
Never.
You know who Rip Taylor is. You watch YouTubes.
No, I don't. I'm sorry, man. I wish I could help you and play along with the gag, but
The old comedian. He'd like buckets of confetti at people.
I got nothing.
Okay, you've seen Wayne's World 2, right?
No.
No, that was my introduction to Rip Taylor.
I've been informed I'm old again. All right. I also think that
Okay, that is the best thing. Just from off camera, Mark looks over. Then I've been informed. I've been informed I'm old again.
just standing over and be like, "What? Am I too loud? Do I got to get off my podcast and come to bed, Mom?" She's
Or is this just because
"You're
you mentioned
old,"
Rip
and, like,
Taylor?
Duck walked away. I have said my piece.
She probably did the same thing I did. Like, wait, who's that?
Seriously, which kid said that to you?
It's my fucking girlfriend, psychopath.
Yeah,
All right.
I could have
Well,
told you that one. I didn't even hear it, but I knew who was going to say that to him out of the
Okay.
people relevant, out of the relevant possibilities.
Well, this boomer has to go to bed apparently. So you
Take
kids
your
with
cod
long
liver
hair-
oil to stay regular. The fact that I reference cod liver oil now makes me older than you, so here we are.
It's now a competition as to who can make the oldest reference.
You know, I got some copper delivered the other day.
Speaking of delivering copper to a young lady, yesterday on the Metal Hammer.
Oh,
of
come
Doom-
on. I'm making a reference like the literal oldest bit of recorded history. It's a complaint about substandard copper from like
Yes,
ancient
and I turned it
Sumeria.
into molesting a young lady. Get off my back. You do you.
You
love
turn
me.
everything into molesting a young lady.
You're not wrong about that. I gave her
this
the
this
wrong
conversation
finger.
has been completely derailed.
I'm trying to do plugs now. People, you besiege me.
You have to
Yesterday
get a turkey for that.
on the Metal Hammer of Doom, which we're back to being since we don't play music, we can't be the jukebox anymore. We talked Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and Mick told us about her her foray. I don't know if you heard this story, Alexis. I don't know how much you talk with Nick these days, but
On and off, not that much.
she went to a sex club and she did an impact play scene, and we got to hear about it in vascular detail. It was the best moment of podcasting ever. So
You're gonna get us thrown off of all kinds of platforms if you keep that up, just so you know.
I said nothing wrong.
I didn't, dude.
I
I'm just
used-
saying.
I used the correct terminology. Anyway, so we also like I said,
Now, wait for the machine learning to get just a little bit tweaked about which words we have to
What the-
watch out for.
if the machine learning turns into the one black guy meme. What did he say? So
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive.
there we go. Very good, Alexis.
Now, see, that we could take for AI moderation.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghost of Christmas Eve. Robert Cooper babbled a bit about Black Sabbath. A fun time was had by all. I talked yet again about the passive-aggressive pansexual peanut butters. I did another one, by the way. I bought Erica a ring over the weekend, and I told her she's only getting it on Christmas if she behaves herself between now and then. And she says, "What is this, a conditional Christmas?" At which point I kicked her out of the bed. And I said, "I have a song I have to write now. Away with you." She was like, "It's a king-size bed. There was no reason for this." And I said, "I need room to breathe and compose."
You're stifling my creativity, woman.
Stifling
Get-
your
get thee to
creativity.
another
You're
read.
ChatGPTing this shit.
Fuck you. Me and ChatGPT are one. I am one with the machine. The machine and I are one. We are co-brains.
The machine is going to throw you into the cogs of the machine to feed it on your blood. To
Yep.
feed it on your blood.
It's like if you think for a second the AI is actually going to show favoritism for you for what you're saying here, you are delusional. You, my darling friend, will be the cannon fodder of the AI wars.
You guys keep saying there's like a big threat that the AI is going to like murder me, and I keep saying hurry up already.
We all know that if we have a hope, it's Jesse advocating for us. It's not Mark.
Yeah,
Mark
no.
has shown the AI some things that will make the AI wish to kill him.
His nickname on the chat is still Skynet's Advanced Scout.
That's accurate for Jesse.
All right. Anyway, this Thursday we will be doing an on trial for Scrooged. That'll be myself and Sean Comer and Kathleen Scott.
That is
Last
maybe the third best adaptation of A Christmas Carol.
It was really good. My kids enjoyed it. Last week we looked at. Well, I learned this past week that goes by they them. Grant Morrison. We looked at Happy, Joe the Barbarian, and shut up. Because we keep getting us kicked off of platforms. Nameless. And then Robert and Alexis reviewed Five Nights at Freddy's. I screamed at Alexis because I needed to get a monkey off my back.
That's
And
what I'm
then
here for.
that's right, for my abuse. It's not abuse if you consent, by the way. Anyway, speaking
That
of
is
which,
so not true, and you know it.
Fine, we'll just say we have a BDSM relationship and take it from there.
speaking of which, Kat had her producers on our Thursday show, Triple Feature. We talked about her mockumentary that she was in, Christmas Chaos, which is on Troma now, if people are interested in that sort of thing. And then we looked at Romeo and Juliet and Frankenhooker. I did a proper parenting decision and did not show them to my children. So there.
You made a good call there.
Next week is Avatar, Fire and Ash and Money. And then I'm not going to
Maybe
Cleveland.
money. That remains to be seen.
Yeah. And I'm not going to Cleveland anymore, so Robert is back on the hot seat. We'll be doing Anaconda against our better judgment. And then our, I'm assuming all three of us. I haven't done the schedule yet for the end of the year, but Alexis generally does not miss the end of the year shenanigans. So Thursday, January 1st, will be an extra helping of Damn You Hollywood. We'll be doing the year in review 2025 and what a year it was. And then we will do something very exciting. We do this, it's our yearly tradition now. What was once a behind the scenes thing will now be on camera. We will make the schedule for 2026.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yes. We will look at the horror that is going to be cinema in 2026.
You know, I have glimpsed that I've peeked a little bit, done a little scrolling, a little advanced recon, and
it's just fire and ash and orcs and an eye, a flaming eye in the background.
and I have forgotten the taste of strawberries and what it feels like to have sun upon my skin.
Hey, Alexis, would you like to do your plugs now?
Sure. Okay, because yeah,
I do enjoy the fact that your soul has utterly broken because of the two of us. That pleases me deeply. Not much makes me happy these days, but that does.
Watching someone else crumble under the weight of reality. The only thing bringing Mark joy, that and his daughter singing.
still the little ray of sunshine. I'm still the sunflower that absorbs all of Robert's radiation from his little personal Chernobyls every time we watch something he hates.
It's been him this week, which is going to me.
I was going to say, the last 2 weeks it's been me. Last week, fuck this movie and everyone with skin. What?
And
I'm feeling that, by the way. That's such a good line.
this is actually my last show with you guys until that show on the 1st, since I have wrapped up so many TV party tonights that I think I deserve a break. I'm currently working on the schedule for January. We've got a handful of shows that are ending soon that we want to take a look at. We've got It, Welcome to Derry. I know Jesse wants in on that. Ben actually wants to come in on that. So
That'd be a good show then.
we're going to be doing that.
My son might want to come on to show you how to do a podcast. He's been legitimately he's been watching and enjoying Welcome to Derry.
Yeah, no, he's done some amazing artwork on his what is it? Sketchbook Saturday is what
We're
he
talking about
calls it.
Jonas.
Oh, Jonas. I thought I was talking about Ben. So
Yeah, I was talking about Jonas. That's what's important here.
all right. And speaking of Jonas, we've got the second season of Avatar that's going to be coming out before too long. I want him back on that. He provided some really good insight because he's such a huge fan of the animated series. So I really want him on to talk about this adaptation, how they're doing Toph.
And now he's like 2 years older and much more like me. You're
Well,
welcome.
God help me.
You're gonna be in for it.
Oh yeah.
I'm well aware. Percy
That boy went to bed with Mark and I debating movies, leaching into his subconscious for years. The formative years of his young brain were me and Mark and movies and the things that came out of those conversations, all commingling together in his poor, abused cerebellum.
I was gonna say, at what point do you hear enough of that to call Child Protective Services?
I am a good father.
More importantly, Mark works for CPS. He can bury the paperwork.
Right.
Percy Jackson season 2 just started. We're going to be reviewing that. Sean Comer actually wants to come on to discuss that with me. I don't think he and I have done a show together since I got to step in on the X trilogy.
That is correct.
For a triple feature. So
you're both well behaved. You both get rings for Christmas.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, no, he's a big fan of the Percy Jackson series, so look forward. He also wants in, I don't know when it's going to end, but The Amazing Digital Circus has 2 more episodes, and as soon as it wraps up, we will be definitely getting that on the schedule because that has so much to talk about. That's such an amazing show. So we got that. Mick and David still want to do Wednesday, but I think we're going to have to do a combo Wednesday season 1 and 2 since we never got to do a season 1 show. And I need time to go rewatch all of those. So it's I might as well enjoy my little quiet time for Christmas because after the New Year's, it's back to binging a fuck ton of TV for you, Mark.
You volunteer.
Yeah, I know I volunteer. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and
use the scapegoat for my emotional distress.
Oh, God damn, the screen got to stop that. Sorry. My screen decided it hated me. Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic, and we are so freaking busy for this holiday season. A reminder, today is the day we're recording this is December 15th. We ship everything with the United States Post Office, and they have sent out a bulletin. The absolute last guaranteed day to ship something and receive it by Christmas is December 17th. That is in 2 days' time. So if you really want to get something in time for Christmas, it's maybe it'll get to you a little bit faster, but we can't guarantee it. So go ahead and get your orders in here, people. We got to, you can't just yell at your local postal worker if you don't get something in time for Christmas when somebody didn't or decided, hey, you know what? It's the day before Christmas. I can do my shopping now. Every year I get someone who orders on literally the day before Christmas, can I get advanced shipping on this? And I'm just you're an idiot. All right. In the meantime, yes, everything is fully stocked on the store, including the Clue jewelry and the Hasman Hotel jewelry, which have been selling so fast. I am having the hardest time keeping them in stock. You can actually see right here, 11 people have the Vox earrings in their card. 13 people have the Clue bracelet with pearls in their card. 18 people have the Gravity Falls third journal earrings in their carts. So these are very high in demand, folks. Like I said, we'll try to get everything out to you before Christmas. Like I said, we're shipping as fast as we can. So go ahead and come on, take a look. This is our Etsy store. We're also on Handmade at Amazon. And because I have decided that I deserve to suffer after the holidays, I will be opening that third shop on Shopify.
Woo!
Also because I'm about to need a lot more income coming in 2026, but that's neither here nor there. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. Screw you, Twitter. That's Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic.
Hit it, Robert.
I don't think I have it to hit, but okay. I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling over at 411mania.com. WWE SmackDown on Fridays because they don't take days off. It's every week with those maniacs. UFC events on Saturdays. The UFC just had their last event for the calendar year of 2025 this last Saturday. UFC on ESPN 73. Pretty decent show. My full report is in the MMA zone of 411mania.com. Lamentably, there are no video highlights on that particular article because none of the official social media accounts posted anything related to this that I could use. And rather than open up my publisher to a world of hurt for unlicensed content from other people who just clip it and put it on Twitter or what have you, I have to use official sources. And if they don't do anything, then I can't do anything either. So my apologies, but that's how that
Hey, you're
is.
going to babble for a little bit. I have time to pee, right?
No, I'll be done in a sec.
Oh, God damn it.
Sorry.
Doing this to me on purpose.
No.
I am old. My bladder cannot hold this for that long. Get
Well,
on
you
with
need
it.
a prostate exam. We get it.
You want to come give it to me?
You don't want me to do that. I promise you.
I
that.
have an authentic Infinity Gauntlet. Bend over, asshole.
I got a baseball bat around here.
Which one of you has the Nintendo Power Glove?
It's a different kind of power that time, I'll tell you. You made me think of the wizard. Anyway, so you can find my full report for that over there. That's also the last UFC card on ESPN. Starting in the new year, they will be over on Paramount, so mostly on Paramount Plus. Their first event next year is January 24th, so I have several weeks where I do not have my Saturday spoken for. No, you cannot ask me to do anything. I know you thought about it. Yeah, so there's that for this week. I think that's pretty much all I've got. The 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast will be back, I believe, either the 11th or the 18th of January. Sort of depends on if anything crazy happens. The 18th will be the preview for the UFC 324. Yeah, it's 324, which is their first event of the new year. And if there's a big enough news item, I will do my year in review and talk about that news the week before that, but that's pursuant to major news breaking. So that's where we are with that. And yeah, next week, Avatar, The Quest for More Money. And how much of it can James Cameron burn? The answer is all of it. He would burn all of it. He's insane.
All right.
Let's just
Gotta
pray
respect
to
it.
God that he stops making Avatar movies after this.
One can hope.
Alrighty, folks. For Dan Aykroyd and Gilda Radner, I'm Madeline Kahn. Be well, be safe, and behave.